Hi everybody, my name is Kevin Tompkins. I am the host of Lightning Round, but today we're going to be doing something a bit different. I'm actually going to show you how to hang up a sports jersey, memorabilia, whatever you have, in a shadow box that's affordable and looks aesthetically pleasing. So come on, I'll show you how it's done. So for this project, you will need some supplies, and I got them listed right here, so let's just go through them. You will need a box cutter or heavy-duty scissors, and you will see why we will need to use those as we move down the list here. But those are definitely a good idea to have. For safety pins, just inch size safety pins, you're going to need 4 of them to fasten the jersey to the next item, which is a flat piece of cardboard. Now, I've got a piece here that's cut about a half an inch less than the measurements of the frame. So my shadow box here is 14 by 18. And I have this piece of cardboard cut 13 and a half by 17 and a half. So it's a good idea to kind of leave yourself about a half an inch of leeway on both sides to get the jersey around that. And it also is going to provide a flat edge for your jersey, so it's not all bunched up. It's not going to fall down as it's hung on the wall. A straight edge or a ruler, and that's going to help you cut out that piece of cardboard. Now you can hang up the jersey without the piece of cardboard, but I highly recommend it. It's going to make it a lot cleaner. As far as hanging your jersey up, it's going to look a lot better. And it's going to keep everything even as well. 3M command strips. Swear by these. I have a large size and I have a medium size here. Now, I recommend putting 4 large command strips and 2 medium for this shadow box. Now, if you have a bigger frame, I would recommend putting more on. Now, it might be overkill because the large strips, each individual strip holds up to 4 pounds. The medium strips, each individual strip holds up to 3 pounds. Now, if you're talking, 4 pounds per each strip, that's 16 pounds right there. And then the 2 medium, that's 6 pounds right there. So you don't want your jersey to fall. I don't want my jersey to fall. It's valuable. It's clearly something sentimental or something you want to display in your home office, whatever the case may be. So that is why I will always err on the side of caution and put way more than I need to make sure that that bad boy is not going anywhere. Next up is optional, but I like it for the specific shadow boxes that I have is Gorilla Tape. Now, some of the shadow boxes are front loading, and some do not have an enclosure that locks or fastens into the frame itself. So what I like to do, and in my particular case, my front loader does not have an enclosure. So I will just put just a piece of tape on the side and then just kind of curl it around. And then also I like to reinforce it with a vertical strip too, just to make sure that front part isn't going to eventually come out. The jersey could, with the cardboard fall out. Don't want any of that. So it's all just going to make everything, it's going to make your life easier. And plus it blends right in with the black, so it's not going to, stick out if you have it displayed or whatnot. So, this is excellent too. And then the last piece, you have your jersey, and I'm going to be hanging up this AJ Brown jersey today. And then also your shadow box. Now, as far as the shadow box, I got this at Michael's. This was $39.99, which if you go on a lot of other sites that do like a pristine auction, that they will have, you can get a frame with the jersey that you purchase, but you're going to have to spend a couple $100. Then you've got matting, and you've got all this stuff. If you're looking for an economical way to hang up your jersey and not have to spend a lot of money, I highly recommend this. You can get these shadow boxes in a lot of sizes, either on like Michael's website or like Hobby Lobby, things like that. So this was $40, and they run a lot of sales too, where you can buy one get one free on shadow boxes and frames, or at the very least buy one get one half off. But this was $40, and I got 2 of them for that price. Plus I had rewards because I bought multiple. So $40 to get 2 of them potentially versus, you know, getting a jersey and then spending $200 on it. If you have some know-how, you know, and I'm going to go through everything and the step-by-step process that I take when I hang up my jerseys, it's just blows it out of the water as far as it doesn't take a lot of time to do it, and you're not spending upwards of $200 to do it. So, we're going to go through all the process here to get everything started for hanging up your jersey. So we have everything we need to get our jersey started. So I'm going to bring you right down here and let's get it started. So the first thing that we need to do with this jersey is we need to put the cardboard inside of the jersey. So I'm going to bring this over here. And with the jersey material, you might get a little bit of snag here, but the idea here is to just make sure that you're essentially framing before you put the frame on. Now, you want to center it as well on here. So what I usually do is make sure that the number plate or the name plate is barely showing underneath. And then we're going to reinforce it with the safety pins. So right now you can kind of see the outline of everything here, where the bottom is just at the number line. And then you just want to make sure everything's centered here. So you can bring it up, you can adjust it as you go too. So if you want a little bit of the jersey sticking out, you can do that as well. All right, so there's that part there. And then the next part will be putting the safety pins underneath to reinforce everything, making sure everything is centered before we place it in the frame. So right now I have the jersey, you know, pretty much how I want it right now, how I want it to look in the frame. So right now what I'm going to do is flip it over. And what I typically do is I support it on the bottom as well as supporting it, and then just flipping it over like that. Basically what I'm doing is keeping what I want framed from moving on the cardboard. The cardboard is there to support it, so that's not going to go anywhere. But right now, what we will be doing is getting this jersey ready to fasten basically to itself and the cardboard. So the first thing that I do is I take the sleeves, I flatten the collar out, and what I'm going to do with the sleeves here is I'm going to bring them close so that the cardboard, you start to get that here. You're going to get some of that nameplate here, and it's a little bit firmer material here, but that's fine because we're not going to be using all of that. You're not going to see all of that in the frame. So what I'm doing with the sleeve here, I'm going to take it across the chest, and then I'm going to fold it back in on itself here. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other sleeve here. I'm going to bring it over so that you've got some of the nameplate right here. And then I am going to bring it out like so, and then flip it on itself again. So basically I've got what essentially is parallel here. And so what I plan on doing with the safety pins, I'm going to safety pin these together. I'm going to safety pin the collar here. I'm going to try to bring this here, fold it underneath, and then safety pin this, and this together. And then I'm going to safety pin the bottom here, which what I'm going to do is fold it over on itself. I'm going to make sure that this side and this side are both against the cardboard here. You want a nice, like I said, a nice clean edge for when you're framing. And then you're just going to basically try to get it as flat as you can here. and then bring it just back up. You don't want a lot of bunching. You can, if you've got a big enough depth in the shadow box or frame, it basically depends on what room you have within that. I have enough room here where I can afford to have a little bit of bunching up here. But basically, this is how it is going to look. And then so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the first safety pin. And even if I go through the numbers on the front is not what I'm displaying. So I'm not super worried about if I have to pierce one of the numbers there. But I am going to go through the bottom. And I am going to go through the sleeve here. And it's going to take a little bit of work here to make sure it comes out of the other side. But then the bottom is now fastened here. Now I'm going to fasten one sleeve to basically the shoulder, one sleeve to the shoulder, and then the third and final, or the fourth and final one will be the collar to these sleeves. So, and I'm not worried about the shoulder for this instance. If you're, you want to display it with the shoulder numbers, you can bring those across, and there's multiple ways to hang a jersey. The way I'm doing this, I will show you the final product, and that's going to look pretty good. So the first sleeve, I've got that coming here, and that is fastened. The second sleeve, and while this is right here, I'm also going to make sure that this is fastened to that as well. Like I said, you're going through multiple pieces of fabric here, so it's going to take a little bit of chutzpah, I guess, if we're going to use a term. And then I'm going to bring the collar like this. And I'm going to go through the ribbed part of the collar. I'm going to go through the first sleeve. And if you have bigger safety pins too, then great. It's going to make it even easier for you. So we're going to go through the first sleeve. We're going to go through the second sleeve. And then boom. And then two, if you have collars that come up like this, you can also use a couple more safety pins. I think I'm going to do that right here. Just to make sure that everything is fastened, everything is secure, so there's not going to be a lot of movement inside the shadow box. So I'm just going to take this safety pin here, I'm going to pin this down into the side of the jersey here. So that's going to be like that. And just going to do the same on the other side. Goes through there. Goes through the jersey. Boom. So right now, everything is fastened to itself right now. And then this can all be adjusted within the frame itself. If you wish, just like I did on the top, you can do the same on the bottom, and the bottom, bring that up and just keep that all tied together. But otherwise, that is what you got there. So that can be centered within everything here. And see how this did come a little bit loose. So, you know what? I'm just going to do this right now. A lot of reinforcement, not a bad idea here. It depends on, what you want to do with your jersey, but I don't mind doing this just to make sure that everything is not going to move when it is inside of the jersey case or the shadow box. Whatever I feel like calling it today. So that's fastened there. And then that side is fastened there. And so that side, that's all set now here. Everything is fastened. And for the most part, I'd say that's pretty good. It just has to be centered a little bit. And you can always just do that inside or on the adjustment going in before you put that in your frame. So that is pretty good right there. And then next I will show you, it's pretty easy just to put that into the frame. And then I'll also show you how to hang that up as well with the command strips. And we'll see if we have to use the Gorilla Tape. But for now, I think this should be pretty good to get in the case. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to put this jersey into the case. So let's do that. We've got everything set here. So I'll unwrap this. And I really should have said this earlier. That would have made sense. It's good to have a nice flat surface to work with for doing this. This is kind of on the small end of how much surface I would like to use, but it makes for a good spot here. So some of these come with pins as well to hang everything in, but they're kind of flimsy, so I don't really like using them. And then there is a backing to it as well. You can either back load it or front load it. We've got, these little things right here. So I just choose, it's a lot easier for me and for probably a lot more people too, to just load it in the front. Just opens like that. Now, like I said, this doesn't have an enclosure. It doesn't lock. So for that reason, that's why I use the Gorilla Tape. So I can just put a piece across this edge here, and then just to reinforce, I'll put one here too. Doesn't have to be super big. It's Gorilla Tape. It's fantastic. But, everything that you need to make sure that your jersey is going to stay in there, not move. Now this is why I have this piece of cardboard cut to that specific dimension, which like I said, about 1/2 inch short of the dimensions of the shadow box, to allow for the jersey and really specifically the nameplate, because like I said, that is a firmer material. And so depending on how tight you have this jersey inside of your case, and I don't worry too much about, I can see there's some white here from the background. When you close the box, at least in this particular one, you're not going to see any of that. You have enough of a gap here to kind of weigh that out. You don't need to make sure it is just perfectly in there. And that's the good thing about that. So I'm going to center this just slightly to the right. And what I usually do is I fold over the nameplate inside here. Make sure that everything else is inside as well. And for this, it looks like that I will need to use some of that Gorilla Tape on the enclosure, because it looks like it is going to be a little bit snug in there. So now that's in there, and close it. And since we did handle that, good idea to take a little bit of Windex here and just get the smudges off. But otherwise, that is in there pretty good. And I will just show you real quick. Don't need a big piece of Gorilla Tape for this. This will just come maybe a good inch by 3/4 inch piece here. I will put that here on the lip, and you can see a little bit of bowing here, and that's fine because this Gorilla Tape is going to hold that. And if you want to, you know, for your own sake, if you feel like you need to, you can put some on here and in here too. It's black. It's not going to show up on here too much. You know, you can't really, you look there. If you're looking at it straight on, you know, even side, the only thing you're really going to see is just a tiny sliver on the edge, but that's not too bad. And I am going to reinforce it, because likely if you're doing this for the first time, you're not going to get it perfect. You know, and if you're using a smaller jersey, like if you're using a large versus an extra large, then there's going to be less jersey to have to deal with here, so it's probably going to be smaller in there. But that's how I've got that there. You can see where I've got that down there, and then I've got this to support that. And then, like I said, if you really want to, you can do it here. You can do it here. But otherwise, that jersey ain't going anywhere. So, you know, I've got this. You can kind of see a little bit of the jersey, and that's fine. I don't mind that. But by and large, it's pretty well centered inside the frame. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the process for hanging this jersey up, and then what you have to do to make sure that that jersey is not going anywhere. All right, so now that we have our jersey inside the cardboard, we have that prepped, we have the jersey inside the frame, we have the 3M command strips on the back here. Last thing to do is put that bad boy on the wall. So for that, we have got my level here, and I had the benefit of having a little bit of a lip here where I can put that right on, make sure my bubble is nice and centered. I'm going to keep that nice and straight. Make sure we are straight here. Looks like we are. And I'm going to take the top edges, place them against the wall, and then slowly seal my left hand to the bottom here. So for this, you're going to want to hold on to the jersey, pressing it against the wall for a good 30 seconds, up to a minute. I'm going to go with a full minute here. I just want to make sure that is on there. And there you go. So that is the final step. And then obviously just you're going to put it wherever you want to put it. But we have a nice A.J. Brown jersey that's hung up. And I would say that, you know, aside from the jersey cost, you're not paying $200 for your jersey case. You're only paying really, you could get two at Michael's for $40. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at KTompkinsII. Subscribe to our channel here at Lightning Round, providing some fantasy football content. But got some requests as far as how to mount jerseys affordably. So glad I could at least provide a how-to on how I do that process. So like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to me. You know, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, hit notification bell to see more videos. And thank you so much for checking this out.